Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your. The Warriors were not good enough to make it to the OES Conference Finals, despite a good season and a victory in the first round of the playoffs, where they eliminated the Houston Rockets, who were one of the favorites. Adjustments will be necessary and signing a center with size will be essential. We have observed 3 good centers that can help the Warriors next season and that are affordable for the price. Mark Williams, Daniel Gafford and Brook Lopez are 3 centers that the Warriors are interested in, and one of them could be signed, depending on the price, up to 2 centers, one to be a starter and the other in the rotation. If the Warriors can sign Mark Williams and Brook Lopez, it would be ideal to maintain size and rim protection during all games. 3 centers the Warriors can add to maximize their title chances in 2026. The Golden State Warriors have a lot to be proud of after the conclusion of another hard-fought season. While they didn't win the title this year, the Warriors showed astounding improvement with Jimmy Butler and managed to rise from 11th in the West up to 7th. Behind the play of Butler, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green, the Warriors made it all the way to the Western Conference semifinals before ultimately losing to the Minnesota Timberwolves in 5 games. Now that this campaign is over, the Warriors can begin making plans for the next campaign, which will see Curry, Draymond, and Butler return for their first full season as teammates. Even with that trio, however, the Warriors will need an upgrade at center if they want to maximize their title chances, and this upcoming summer is their next best chance to fill out the front court before starting a new season. With limited assets available, Golden State will have to be selective in who they target, but there are several names right now who could prove a valuable addition both on the trade market and in free agency. The question is, how much are the Warriors willing to give up in their pursuit of a big man? Mark Williams is ready for redemption. It's been a quiet tenure with the Hornets for young big man Mark Williams, but nobody has forgotten him being rejected by the Lakers. Back in February, Williams was on the verge of joining LeBron James and Luka Doncic in Los Angeles before GM Rob Pelinka got cold feet and failed his physical at the last minute. Williams was sent back to the Hornets that day, and it's where he's been ever since. With 1 year and $6.3 million left on his contract, Williams wouldn't be a major commitment for the Warriors, but he'll be eager to prove himself after being shunned by LA. At the very least, at 7 feet 0 inches and 240 pounds, he'd bring much-needed size to the Warriors' front court, which would help them in just about every aspect on the floor. While maturity and work ethic seem to be an issue for Williams, his production on the court has been solid for the Hornets, and he could thrive with those skills alongside Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler. With averages of 15.3 points, 10.2 rebounds, and 1.2 blocks per game, Mark provides a steady presence under the rim, and that's exactly what the Warriors need for this final leg of Steph's journey. Daniel Gafford could unlock the Warriors' defense. In Dallas, the Luka Doncic trade sent shockwaves across the city, but things are looking up for the Mavericks after landing the top pick in the upcoming draft. With Cooper Flagg on the way, it puts everything in doubt, and that includes the availability of Daniel Gafford. The veteran big man is reportedly a top target for the Lakers this summer, who are also looking for a center, but the Warriors could also benefit from his addition. In 57 games this season, the 6 feet 10 inches center averaged 12.3 points, 6.8 rebounds, and 1.8 blocks per game on 70.2% shooting. Before Anthony Davis's arrival, he was the last line of defense for the Mavericks, and he's still got room to grow at just 26 years old. As a high-energy, athletic big man, Gafford excels in pick and rolls, and he's a beast in the paint and a rebounder and shot blocker. In many ways, he's everything the Warriors need, and his contract is relatively affordable with 1 year, $14.4 million remaining. Brook Lopez could be available. As the Milwaukee Bucks ponder their future with Giannis Antetokounmpo, the status of their other core players remains shrouded in mystery. As an unrestricted free agent this summer, Brook Lopez has complete control over his next basketball destination, and the Warriors are an ideal fit, assuming they are willing to pay him. The 37-year-old big man is already past his prime, but his size at 7 feet 1 inch and 282 pounds would make a huge difference for the Warriors. Additionally, his championship experience would help him establish an early bond with Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and head coach Steve Kerr. With averages of 13.0 points, 5.0 rebounds, and 1.8 assists this season, Brook Lopez isn't the big man he used to be, but his elite shot-blocking ability and impressive shooting stroke make him worthy of consideration for the Warriors. He might even sign for a discount given his age and the team's status as an alluring destination. Whether it's by trade or through free agency, we can expect the Warriors to make some moves this summer to help Steph's championship pursuit. Who they add may very well determine how far they get, and the Warriors cannot afford to get it wrong and waste what is left of Curry's career. Golden State Warriors have an alarming issue around Jimmy Butler-Steph Curry duo. Steve Kerr has to find solution. There is a stark contrast in the Golden State Warriors' performance when one of Jimmy Butler or Stephen Curry is not playing. Prior to trading for Jimmy Butler, the Golden State Warriors were going through a slump. So much so that many believed the organization would fail to qualify for the 2025 NBA playoffs. However, Butler's arrival transformed the Dubs as they finished the regular season as the number 7 seed in the Western Conference. While the Warriors took care of business against the Houston Rockets in the first round, they were outplayed by Anthony Edwards' Minnesota Timberwolves in the Western Conference semifinals. Jimmy Butler can't win without Stephen Curry. Following the 4-1 series loss, Butler became a focal point of the Warriors' failure in the second round. After all, Butler was the number 1 option for the Dubs from games 2 to 5. However, the franchise failed to win even a single contest with Butler being the primary scorer on the team. It was evident that the Warriors missed the star power that Stephen Curry brought to the floor as the baby-faced assassin played just 13 minutes this series. With that said, how have the Warriors fared in games where Curry has missed but Butler has played? It's not a good look for the 6x NBA All-Star, as the Dubs have gone 1-6 in the 7 games that he played without Curry by his side. The Warriors were still good without Curry before acquiring Butler. As mentioned earlier, there's no doubt that Butler is a talented player. But it feels like head coach Steve Kerr had to make various adjustments to accommodate the 35-year-old. This has impacted the Warriors' ability to win without Curry on the court. It can be easily backed by the Dubs' record without Steph before trading for Jimmy. The Warriors had 9 contests where Curry was sidelined in the pre-Butler era this season. In those 9 matchups, the Warriors had a solid 6-3 record. Draymond Green doubles down on championship promise after Jimmy Butler trade for next season, do whatever. Draymond Green doesn't think this is the end of the road for the current iteration of the Warriors. The Golden State Warriors season is now over, as the Minnesota Timberwolves eliminated them with a clutch Game 5 performance. NBA fans were completely enthralled by Anthony Edwards' performance and how it added to his legacy. It was a forgettable night on the box score, but an important night in his career. Brandon Podziemski tried his best tonight with a 28-point performance. But Steve Kerr said Pods must step up next season. Speaking of next season, Draymond Green spoke about the promise he made about the Golden State Warriors right after they acquired Jimmy Butler. Draymond Green says Warriors can still make championship run. Draymond Green spoke in his post-game press conference about the future of the Golden State Warriors. While they weren't able to get it done this season, Green maintains that his promise from February that this team would win an NBA championship is still in play for next season. I think we will be right back at it. Sucks to end this way, but we think we got the pieces to make another run at it and do it again. That's gonna be our mindset going into the summer. We'll do all that to improve. We got one of the best ownership groups and front offices in the NBA. They'll do whatever they feel is needed to help the team improve. We as players have got to get back in the lab and do what we got to do to get better. We'll give ourselves a chance. What changes do the Warriors need to make? The Golden State Warriors started the season quite poorly. At one point, it looked like they wouldn't reach the playoffs. But after the Jimmy Butler trade, they immediately became one of the best teams in the NBA and started delivering at a high level. In the playoffs, they defeated a strong, yet inexperienced and poorly constructed, Houston Rockets side, despite being the 7th seed. But playing against an experienced and mature Timberwolves side, the Warriors' gaps were exposed. The front office should try and work at plugging those gaps. Stephen Curry comments on Golden State Warriors roster for next season after playoff elimination. The Golden State Warriors were eliminated from the NBA playoffs by the Minnesota Timberwolves and are already looking ahead. The Golden State Warriors, after adding Jimmy Butler to the roster ahead of the trade deadline, looked the part of a contender. However, injuries reared their ugly head in the postseason, with Butler injuring his pelvis in the first round and Stephen Curry suffering a hamstring sprain in the second round. With their two best players either unavailable or hobbled, the Dubs stood basically no chance. However, Butler, Curry, and Draymond Green all remain under contract, and the Warriors know that their core is already in place. Stephen Curry addresses Warriors' offseason plans. The Warriors can make a splashy move, but they can't rival teams like the San Antonio Spurs, Houston Rockets, and even Miami Heat when it comes to building a trade package worthy of a superstar. Of course, adding a star is not the only option. They can stay the course or improve on the fringes by adding complementary talent, ideally a true center who can play long minutes. Curry knows that the current roster, as it stands, will be the lineup the Warriors trot out for the rest of his career. On the surface, that's why he signed for 2 more years, said Curry of Jimmy Butler, before addressing the roster as a whole. Our belief is we can make it work. The Warriors knew that Butler, Curry, or Green would miss at least one playoff run due to injuries, and with 2 seasons left on their contracts, they have more chances. Age will quickly become a factor impossible to ignore, if it hasn't already reared its ugly head. Possible Warriors offseason moves. Even before Golden State was eliminated, they were linked to the best player on the trade market, Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's a long shot, and there is no clear path for the Warriors to outbid the other suitors that will certainly emerge, although it is possible. Established stars like Kevin Durant have been linked to the Warriors, although Durant has made it clear he doesn't want to play for a team with which he has a history. The Warriors could, in theory, trade Buddy Hield, Moses Moody, sign and trade Jonathan Kuminga, flip Brandon Podziemski, or even move on from Green to add a star, but it's expected that they will simply improve around the margins. The Warriors beat the Memphis Grizzlies in the play-in tournament and the Rockets in Game 1 of their first-round matchup in the only 2 postseason games where both Curry and Butler were healthy, so there is reason to believe that simple injury luck played a massive factor in their elimination. Draymond Green makes surprising comments after Warriors are eliminated. Draymond Green is treating the end of his team's season with a surprising level of maturity. The Golden State Warriors were officially eliminated from the playoffs on Wednesday night with a 121-110 loss in Game 5 of their second-round playoff series at Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Golden State won Game 1 of the series but lost superstar guard Steph Curry to a hamstring injury during that game as well. As a result, they dropped the next 4 straight contests to lose the series 4-1. Speaking with reporters after the loss, the Warriors star Green made some uncharacteristically sensible comments as he reflected on the absence of Curry for those final 4 games against the Timberwolves. 0-01. 438. On the flip side, you can't say we would have won if Steph hadn't got hurt, said Green, per 95.7 the game. No, we've been on the other side of that. So respect it when it don't go your way. Unfortunately on this side, luck wasn't our side and Steph got hurt, Green continued. Take the good with the bad. The Minnesota Timberwolves ended our season and beat us regardless of who was on the floor. Green is right that the Warriors have benefited plenty of times over the years from injuries during the playoffs to the other team's stars. In fact, you could make the argument that was the case for all 4 of Golden State's NBA titles in the last decade. Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving missing for the Cleveland Cavaliers during the 2015 NBA Finals, Kawhi Leonard missing for the San Antonio Spurs in the 2017 Western Conference Finals, Chris Paul missing the last 2 games for the Houston Rockets in the 2018 Western Conference Finals, and Ja Morant missing the final 3 games for the Memphis Grizzlies in the 2019 Western Conference Semifinals. Simply put, injury luck, as well as matchups, play a fundamental role in which team ends up winning the NBA championship in any given year. Green's comments do come as a surprise since he is not exactly known for being rational and level-headed, especially considering who exactly the Warriors just lost to. But at least he recognizes that Golden State should not be making injuries an excuse when the shoe has been on the other foot for them many times before.